I love the smell of Cantina figures in the morning. Smells like victory. Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 99 of Brett on Fett, and I'm in a very good mood this morning. Today is July 5th, 2024, and I'm in a good mood not only because I have the day off from work today, but I also woke up to the news that the latest hasbro HasLab for Star Wars, the Vintage Collection, that being the Mos Eisley Cantina, has funded as of this morning. I couldn't be more excited to get this awesome playset. It's going to be a great, fantastic diorama for my action figures. And, to be honest, I think it's going to be a great diorama, not just for the cantinaaliens figures, but really for any action figures you want to display. Because really, any of the characters in the Star Wars universe could be hanging out at a bar at one time or another. Even specifically the Mos Eisley Cantina. We've already seen the Mos Eisley Cantina used in other media, such as The Mandalorian, with EV99 running the bar. So I just think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for display options with this HasLab, and I think it's just going to be great. So now with only a few days left, we really need to turn our attention to unlocking all of the tiers. We got a pretty big hill to climb to get to the 17,000 backers for Arlyle Shoes, but I'm very confident Greedo is going to easily back with the last minute surge that always happens on these HasLabs. So I think a more realistic goal at this point is Nabron Leeds at 14,000 backers, but who knows? Maybe the fans will surprise me and we'll get all the way to that 17,000. That would be amazing. But for now, I guess we need to make sure we unlock Greedo at that first tier. So let's go for Greedo. Then we can nab one for Nabron, and then we can shoot for Shoes. So good luck, everybody. I hope that we get all of the tiers unlocked. That would be awesome to get 6 figures instead of 3 or 4. Okay, so last weekend was the first annual Rebel Scum Con in Dallas, Texas. Now, I live in the Houston area, about a 4-hour drive from there. I also had family and friends in Dallas, and so this was a no-brainer that I was going to attend this convention. I wanted to see how they did on their first go-around. And I was also able to meet 2 good friends of mine from the collecting community, legendary collectors, Gary Moore and Bradley Vandiver, aka Rocket City Sith. Many of you watching may be familiar with those guys, great guys. And we had a great time. I'd say overall, they did a very good job on their first go-around for a convention. They had plenty of Star Wars guests. Not big time A-listers, although they did have Ahmed Best, who plays Jar Jar Binks, of course, and Kelleran Beck. He was awesome. But they also had all of the suit actors that play the Mandalorian. They had 3 of the Darth Vader suit actors from the special edition movies and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that was awesome getting to meet them. They had the actresses that played Ayla Secura and Barriss Offee. They had the actress that played Aura Singh there. I got to meet Dickie Beard, who was one of the main stuntmen playing Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi. He was awesome to chat to, and I got his autograph. And speaking of Boba Fett, they also had John Morton, who played Dak Ralter. But I have to admit, I didn't know until a few days before the convention, he also played Boba Fett in the hallway scene on Bespin, where he tells Vader, what if he dies? He's no good to me dead. And so he was there. And then they also have the stunt double for Temuera Morrison on the Book of Boba Fett. I apologize, I keep forgetting his name. He has a very unique name, but I'll put it on the screen here. But he was awesome as well. So it was really cool to get to meet 3 people who have played Boba Fett on screen. And then there was just a number of other folks, like suit actors. For example, Carrie Jones, who played Chrysanthemum on the Book of Boba Fett. Tate Fletcher, who plays Paz Vizsla. Ton of actors that played Ewoks and Jawas. Just a lot of folks that helped make Star Wars. So it's really cool to be able to meet these people and mingle with them. Everyone I met was very nice, very down to earth. And also I want to thank Bradley because he purchased a ton of photo ops with the celebrities. and invited Gary and I to take part in those, and he shared those with me. So thank you so much, Brad, for that. That was awesome, being able to meet those guys, shake their hands, take pictures with them. It was really a great experience overall. And so I do have some interesting pickups I got from the convention that I do want to share with you guys. But before that, let's quickly take a look at some new TVC that started coming in this past week. All right, so I already showed you guys in previous videos that I received the new R2-D2 and the new Princess Leia. However, I only had one on card for each, and I finally got doubles of those to open. So I just wanted to show you the R2-D2. And here he is compared to the last R2 we got on the Empire Strikes Back card. And you can see the Empire one was just undersized. This other R2, to me, is the better mold. Of course, it is not a new figure, it's a repack, but it's still a pretty good R2. And then, of course, the all-new Princess Leia is superb. I love this figure. I thought it was a great call. Going with the molded plastic, it looks so good. I love the soft molded plastic hood. It goes on and off very easily. It looks great on her. This is an excellent figure. And I can't wait to get the other all-new heroes from A New Hope. That's going to be awesome. And I finally started getting in orders of the Stormtrooper reissue. This, of course, is VC 231. It is the definitive Stormtrooper we have, but they've removed the warning label from the Hildebrandt logo, which is excellent. I've already started making use of some of these Stormtroopers. I've got several more coming in still. Great to have those. And then I got the reissue of the Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot. Similar to the Stormtrooper, they have removed the warning label off the Hildebrandt. So that looks great. This is a classic card back, so it's nice to get that off. It is a repack of VC 158. It's the same figure, but it's nice to have it without that warning label. Here's the old one. I will be opening this one and keeping the new one on my shelf since it's just a nicer, cleaner looking card back. But yeah, you can see it is the exact same figure. I don't even think there is any kind of photoreal update or anything. You can see, of course, the backs of the card are different with that new update. But it is the same figure, but nice to have without that warning label on the front. Next, I got the A New Hope Darth Vader in. This is the classic Vader card back. You can see, again, they've removed that warning label from the top. Unfortunately, mine did show up with that infamous Ring of Death. They have been showing up again in these latest waves. But it is that Dark Times mold, which is excellent. It is a definitive Vader. They just made some minor updates to be more screen accurate. You can see I've got one back there. That is the Dark Times Vader back there. So I will open this one and probably replace him back there and use that Dark Times one somewhere else. It is VC 334, so they have given it an all-new VC number since it is a new figure. And I think I will do a video in the near future just exploring the VC numbering system and how they make decisions on when they keep the same number and change them. Here's the last A New Hope Vader we got. You can see it had a different ages 4 and up on the top, and they removed the warning label. And just to compare the two real quick, you can see obviously this is TVC 1.0, so it had that Darth Maul offer sticker. But looking at the figures, you can see the helmet on the old version just looks a bit silly compared to the new one, which is very screen accurate. And switching over to the backs, you can see the big differences in style here. And of course, the old one is VC 93, whereas the new one is VC 334. So like Leia, again, this is great to get a new definitive figure of a main character from Star Wars A New Hope. And lastly, for new TVC pickups, I've got the Mandalorian Judge from The Mandalorian Season 3. And I gotta say, I do like this card back. It is a great image of the Judge. And I know a lot of people are burned out on Mandos, but I think this one does look good. Here's a look at the back. It is VC 321. And if you go back to one of my earlier videos where I went over my top 10 wish list for new figures from Mandalorian Season 3, the Judge was one of the characters on my list. So I really have no right to complain about more Mandos when I asked for this character. So I, for one, am glad they made this. So I got 2 of these, one to keep on card, one to open. So let's get him open so we take a closer look. All right, so here is the Judge out of the packaging. He comes with 2 accessories. He's got this standard Mando blaster pistol, pretty typical, and then he's got his jetpack, which is painted orange with some nice gold and metallic gray. I do like the paint apps on the jetpack. And here is the figure itself. Really like these paint apps, and I like the soft goods of his cape. I like that material they use. It looks good. Obviously, a lot of reuse here with other Mando figures, so a lot of familiarity with this. But everything looks good. Of course, the articulation is great. And, you know, really no complaints about this thing. Here he is with his blaster in hand and jetpack secured on his back, which secures just fine. The cloth goods is easily tucked under the jetpack. His rangefinder is articulated. The helmet, of course, does not come off. But yeah, just like this. It's a nice Mando figure. It really is. I like the color combos on this figure, and I'm not totally burned out on Mandos yet. I'm getting there. I'm close, but not quite yet. Great addition, in my opinion. Alright, it's time to go through my Rebel Scum Con pickups, and we'll go ahead and start with this Imperial Royal Guard. This is a TVC 1.0 original release of the Imperial Guard, which I did not have. It's unpunched, it's VC 105, and I picked this up for $15. There was a guy selling a ton of TVC for $20, but if you bought more than one, every TVC was $15. So I had to pick this up because I only had the 2.0 version, and you should never pass up a TVC 1.0 in good condition for $15. You just can't beat that. So let's quickly compare the two. Both are the same exact figure, but they just display the accessories a little bit different in the 1.0 version. You can see I had the alternate helmet was brought to the front. But the other thing I noticed, which kind of bothers me, is the image on the re-release is so much more clean and vibrant looking. That original release image is a little bit more blurry and a little bit more yellowish. And flipping over to the back, you can see the differences there. Of course, these are both VC 105. It is just a re-release. But yeah, that image looking so much crisper on the reissue has a little bit of dilemma because I want another one to flank my Emperor over there. So I gotta open the 2.0 version, right? I cannot open the 1.0. No way. Even though I paid only $15 for it. So it's either I keep both of these carded or I open the reissue. But I'll figure that out later. This is going to make a great addition to my carded figures displayed on my wall. Next up, from the same guy, I picked up the Sith Trooper Armory pack from Rise of Skywalker. I'm not a huge sequel trilogy fan. I don't have that many sequel trilogy TVC figures, but I wanted this one because it's so unique. They had all these weapons, got this massive bubble, and it says Armory Pack. And on the back, they numbered it VC 162A. That was the first time they had done that. And so I really wanted this one in my collection because it is just a unique release. But it is a cool looking figure and I like the card back. So happy to pick this up again for $15. Great deal. Next up, maybe even a better deal. This other vendor was selling any two Power of the Force or Power of the Jedi figures for $15 total. So I picked up another Ketwall. If you watched my Cantina figures video, you know I already got Ketwall, but I need a second one because this is actually a 2-in-1 figure, which I had forgotten about when I originally picked him up. So glad to get him, and we'll go ahead and I'll show you what I mean. So here is my other Ketwall. There is the figure in his regular form. As you can see, he's got this nice soft plastic jacket here, which is removable, but he's also got removable pants that are soft plastic, and you remove it to reveal that he's actually on stilts. He's actually a little guy on stilts, so that's pretty cool. But I've also turned his head around to reveal another Cantina character. This is Malos, and he is one of the special edition characters. You don't really need to take the jacket off because I think in the film he has a red jacket on as well anyways. The only thing disappointing about this whole thing is they didn't include his hat that goes on the back of his head. It's kind of like a Rasta hat looking thing. It's like they went through the trouble of the other accessories, so why not include the hat as well? So that was a little disappointing. So I also picked up Ishi Tib. He is a cool alien character, and they did a pretty good job with this one. I like the molding of his face sculpt and his little outfit there, and so I was happy to pick this one up. Power of the Force did a pretty good job on some of the alien figures and droid figures. This one comes with a pretty cool freeze frame of the Rebel Alliance plotting their attack on Death Star 2. Next up, I got a pretty good deal on the pre-Cyborg Grievous from the 30th Anniversary Collection. This is one of my favorite 30th Anniversary figures. It's so cool to have a Grievous before he became a cyborg. Now, I already had this figure, but the bubble was extremely yellowed, and I've been looking to get another one anyway to open, so it was great that I found a good deal on this clear bubbled version. So I will keep this one carded and open up my yellowed bubble one. Next up, there was a vendor who had several custom carded figures, and they had a Boba Fett themed astromech. You can see he's F3TT or Fett, and you know, I just had to pick this up. It's not the best custom in the world, but it's a Boba Fett astromech, vintage Kenner style. The back is nothing special. It's just a reprint of a 92 back as far as I can tell, but it's still a very cool Boba Fett themed little Kenner inspired astromech, so I love it. Next up, the convention guys were selling card backs of all the celebrities you could get autographs by. So I picked up this blue protocol droid to get signed by Daniel Bowman, who was the suit actor that played that awesome protocol droid. I think his name is actually RG-255. But I got to meet Daniel, great guy, very down to earth, very nice. And I got him to sign it. It looks great. And I really wanted to get this one signed because you may recall I have this custom RG-255 figure made by Has No Talent Customs. And it looks great. It's a really fabulous vac metalized protocol droid. And so what I did was I got that autograph and then I ordered this special case that has a built-in bubble. These are really cool. My guy, Usual Mike Television, the YouTuber, coined these mocks, and I love that phrase, and that's exactly what they are because you can mock up a mint on card figure with these when you don't have one sealed in bubble. And so it worked perfectly. Snap this on here, and there I can display my figure with Daniel's autograph on this custom card back, and I just couldn't be happier with how this turned out. Gary Moore has the same custom figure and did the same thing, except he went a step above and got an acrylic case from Ian's Displays, and that turned out fantastic. Alright, if you've been following my channel for a while, you may know that I am pretty obsessed with 21B. He is one of my favorite droids going back to my childhood, so I had to pick up this custom droids 21B with a vintage Kenner 21B inside the bubble. I thought this thing was awesome, and I actually picked this up from the same guy that was selling me those TVC figures for $15. So guess how much he wanted for this? That's right, $15 for this awesome Droids custom 21B figure. I felt like this was made with me in mind because I just love 21B and I love the Droids card backs. So this was a great custom to pick up for 15 bucks. And speaking of 21B, check out this guy. I finally was able to get the Gentle Giant Jumbo version of 21B. I've been wanting this for a long time. Now at ICCC last year, I picked up a teeny tiny 21B, so I just want to bring him out to compare the two. And you can see the ridiculous difference in size between the two. But this is probably my new favorite Gentle Giant Jumbo figure. He looks fantastic. They nailed the look of the Kenner 21B with this figure. Here's a look at the back of the card. It's taken me so long to get this one because I just haven't been able to find a good deal on it. It always seems to be way overpriced. I've seen it go as high as $800 before, but I was able to grab this one for $200, which I thought was more than fair. Now the only problem is figuring out where I'm going to put this thing. I have no room left for my jumbo figures. I think I might have to replace the Mando and either sell him or keep the Mando somewhere else. Next up, I mentioned earlier that I got to meet Dickie Beer, who was the main stuntman playing Boba Fett for Return of the Jedi. He was Boba Fett in the Pit of Carcoon scenes, which is perfect for this TVC figure, so that's him. And I got him to sign it in this dark green color that matches the Boba Fett helmet color perfectly. And of course, this is the Vintage Collection VC186 Boba Fett, which is an excellent figure, one of the best in the line in my opinion. But of course, with Boba Fett being one of my focus characters that I collect, it was awesome getting to meet somebody that played Boba Fett and chat him up a bit, talk to him, ask him some questions, and he was really nice. And I'll finish things up with a few non-action related items I picked up. First, I got this Guinness glass of Obi-Wan Kenobi with Alec Guinness's autograph. Guinness is one of my favorite beers, so this was a perfect glass for me. And then one of the vendors was selling a ton of keychains like this one. They had all kinds of card backs from Kenner, including TVC as well. They had a ton to choose from. I went ahead and grabbed a Boba Fett one, but I thought these were really cool. And then finally, there was a vendor there made up of military vets who specialized in making these awesome patches. They had a ton of different kinds of Star Wars patches, but my favorite was this group of ESB Bounty Hunter patches. You guys know I love the ESB Bounty Hunters, so I had to get the whole collection. So you got Boba Fett, there is Dengar, and you got, of course, Forlom. Then there's Forlom's best buddy, Zuckuss. There is IG-88, and finally there is Bosk. And of course, these are made to fit all together and form one kind of medallion looking shape. And what I plan to do is buying a circular picture frame and mounting these all together, put them on my wall somewhere, if I can find the space. But these are awesome. Alright, so that's going to do it for this episode of Brett on Fett. Remember, the HasLab Cantina campaign ends at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on July 8th, 2024, which is just a few days away from when I'm recording this video. So if you are a 3.75 collector and you want an awesome diorama to display your figures, please consider backing the Cantina. Remember, it doesn't matter if you back the base version or the deluxe version, you still get all of the figures, and that backing still goes towards all the tiers. So let's go for Greedo, let's nab one for Nabrun, and let's shoot for shoot. Thanks for checking out this video. Don't forget you can also follow me on Instagram. Take care, and we'll see you next time.